Intro to Civil Suite webinar. We've got a change up in our presenter. It used to be Bruce, and now we're here with Dave Sanford, who's the Carlson Regional Sales Manager for Texas. So it would be the same topics, just a different presenter. If you have any questions, we're shooting for 30 minutes, and then if you have questions, you can type them into the questions box in your webinar toolbar, and we'll get to those at the end. And of course, our YouTube recording will be up after the webinar is ended. So without further ado, let me change it over to Dave, and we'll get this started.
All right. Here we go. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on our series of Monday webinars. As Lee mentioned, I am the Sales Director for Texas for Carlson Software. And today's webinar is going to be on the an overview of the Civil Suite. The Civil Suite includes a bundle of software. It includes survey, civil, hydrology, and GIS. The Civil Suite is suitable for surveyors, civil engineers, and contractors. Our ever-popular Carlson survey program includes powerful and time-saving routines like field to finish, enter deed description. It's got a full COGO menu, surface modeling, annotation, just to name a few. Carlson Civil is used for grading design, roadway plan and profile, subdivision design. It can produce cut and fill maps for you in color. Also produce cross-sections, material quantities for site development and roadway design projects. Carlson Hydrology is a very powerful set of routines. It does both H and H, both hydrologic and hydraulic tools for design. It provides tools for computing stormwater runoff using either the rational or TR55 methodology. It can be used to design detention basins, including outfall structures, and can be used to design virtually any subsurface utility. It will even help you size your storm drainage pipes, including drawing hydraulic and energy grade lines. Our GIS program includes routines for managing aerial images and terrain for both Esri and Google Earth. Our GIS program can be used to input, edit, label, inspect, and report GIS data. Each of these modules can be purchased individually, but when we bundle them as the Civil Suite, we put a discount on it. It's over a third off. And we are currently running a promotion on the Civil Suite right now for folks coming out of Land Development Desktop or Civil 3D. If I can get out of this, here we go. Normally, it's priced at $37.50 for the four modules that make up the Civil Suite. Now through the end of May, we're running a promotion again for LDD users, Civil 3D users. It's $19.95 right now through the end of May, and that includes your first year of software maintenance, an additional $375 savings there. So let's take a look at the program here. I'm going to be demonstrating today on top of IntelliCAD. And I'm going to start with the survey program. I'm going to bring down my Carlson toolbar here. This has the different Carlson menus here, so we'll be looking at survey, civil, hydrology, and GIS today. I'm going to start with survey. You notice the menus here across the top, file through points. Those menus don't change as I toggle between the different Carlson menus here. So to the right of points, I have survey, COGO, centerline, area layout, annotate, surface, GIS, CNG survey. Literally, this Carlson survey is two programs in one. It also includes a full complement of CNG survey. So starting with survey, I'm going to show you one of our premier routines. It's called field to finish. And field to finish, what it does is draws your points and line work, your symbology based upon your coding. So I'm going to start by importing a text ASCII file here. Select it from the list. You get a preview of the data here. I'm going to click Open. Say OK. And that's going to populate my CRD file. And if I look at that, list points. So all that routine has done is it's populated my CRD file, took the text file and converted it into a Carlson format TXT file. So the old school method of doing your topographic surveys, your boundary surveys, is to draw locate points, and I can use the layer by description to create unique layers for each description and tell it to draw all. Move my toolbar back up here, and you'll see that I can now isolate a certain layer here, and now I'm sort of charged with connecting the dots here. So I go to Draw, 2D polyline, and put it on a layer called Building, say OK, turn on my E-snaps here, check my settings, got it for node. I'm going to turn off the endpoint. Say OK, and basically, connect the dots up here. I can draw by point number 4 to 5, 6, 7 to 8 to 9, 10, 11, 12, and then close it with that first line there. I've skipped 13. No worries. So that's kind of the old school way of doing things. Turn everything else back on. Let me show you what field to finish can do for you. So I'm going to first erase everything out of here, and then I'm going to go right to Survey, draw field to finish, and we'll just say OK and see the magic. There you have it. There's the building outline drawn on here, top of bank shown out here. So all of this was drawn via field to finish. And the way it works, we'll select that MVC code and take a look at it. The way it works is it reads the code in the point file, and so each code that has MVC in its description, in this case it's going to draw a 2D polyline on a layer called residence. And these other symbols and line types were drawn similarly, and that's a little bit on field to finish. Let's go over to do some civil now. So I'm going to go into my Clearwater Oaks project, and I'm going to freeze off a few layers here, get down to a kind of a clean palette here to work from. So I've got a subdivision that was laid out using LotNet, which is actually part of Carlson Survey and Carlson Civil. So you'll notice when I go into Civil, changes now. To the right of points, I've got 3D data, surface, essentially a duplicate of what's in Survey, but with some additional tools. SiteNet is specific to Carlson Civil for producing design and material quantities. Centerline is essentially a duplicate of what we get in Survey, so there is some overlap. Profiles, a much more robust menu than Survey does have profiles. It's located under the surface menu in Survey. Sections is exclusive to Carlson Civil, as is the roads menu. Area layout and annotate are basically duplicates of what you get in Carlson Survey. So I'm going to go into roads to RoadNet and under the roads menu. So I click on Road Network, and I'm going to set up a new road network file. I'm just going to call it Demo. I click Open. And I'm tempted to come here and just start adding roads up here. So I click on Add Road, and if I forget to set my surface file, because RoadNet is going to automatically connect my ends of my roads and automatically create profiles for me, it needs a surface file to work with. So I'm going to click on OK, select my previously made existing ground surface model, and then I'm just going to screen pick these polylines here that represent the center lines, turn those into center lines, and I'll call it road 1. And there it's automatically creating the profile for me with the same name. I want to go in there and edit that profile. You can add PVIs by clicking on the button here, and you can see I've got this set to snap to the closest 10 foot. I'm not that good where I can eyeball 290 exactly. It's also set to snap to the closest 0.1% in grade. So there's a couple of features that I like, and I'm just going to kind of screen pick a few points on here, say OK, and then I'll make some edits down here in the spreadsheet view. For instance, my roadway, I don't want to have a slope any less than minus 0.5%. If I want to design by K value, I've got a K value of 30. I'm going to change that up to 90 feet. If I want to change the station here, I can just type that in, station or elevation. Again, I'll put another vertical curve in here, use that same 30 K value, and I'm going to bump this one up to 100 feet. And then I'll just go ahead and save that out, exit. So I've got 2/3 of what I need to design the roadway. I also need a template. So I'm going to click on template, and I'm going to just use this one here that I've created previously in the interest of moving things along, but let's take a look at it. Here it is. It's got a grade of minus 2% starting out, and curbs on the end, and then a flat area going out to my right-of-way, and then 3-to-1 cut and fill slopes. Let's take a look at the profile here real quick. When I click on Edit, you can see as I move my cursor in my profile, you see the triangle moving in plan view, so you get real-time feedback on your design. And now that I've got a template associated with this, I can look at my roadway cross sections as I'm moving through my design. So there I'm in a cut area next to a fill area. I get real-time feedback too on my design. It's comparing the bottom subgrade with that existing ground. So that's a nice feature inside of RoadNet. I'm going to save that, exit. Not ready to process yet, so I'm going to say no here. I want to add the rest of my roadways in, so I'm going to add, first I'm going to add the cul-de-sac at the end of Road 1, and I'll put a 45-foot radius on it, 20-foot fill-out radius there, and it creates a profile of the cul-de-sac for me as well. I can move that low point over, maybe put a vertical curve on it as well. 25 feet, maybe a little bit longer than that, 50, and save that out, exit, say OK. I'm going to add in my other roadways now. Add road, I'm screen picking the polyline here, assign that to a centerline file, I'll call that road 2, save, and it creates a profile with the same name. Let's take a look at it. It's now tied, it has actually tied itself to the profile for Road 1. So those are dynamically linked here. So as I change the profile on 1, Road 2 also picks that up. Save that out, exit, and I'm going to add one more road in here. We're going to add Road 3 in here. So screen pick the polyline, select that interior road. I'm going to call that Road 3. And save that out. It creates the profile with the same name. Say OK. It's also each one of these intersections it's picked up for me, and I'm able to edit those, either the front right or front left. I can change the radius. I can also edit the profile at each one of these curb returns here. So that's rather nice. Carlson does that for us on the fly. We say OK. I'm going to check my output settings real quick here, and I'm going to go ahead and tell it to tie to existing, and then I'll triangulate and contour, and I'll create a triangulation file, and we'll call it roadways. Save that. Let's say OK. I'm not going to elevate my pads or lots, but actually RoadNet can be used to elevate pads and lot lines out here as well. And so you can real quickly get a feel for your cut and fill balance on this job here. So I can click on OK. I'm going to save first. Then I'll go ahead and process. And it's creating my surface file for me called roadways. And I can also produce material quantities on the job. If I want to get a report of my roadway cut and fill, it shows me my cut and fill, and it's comparing the bottom subgrade with the existing ground surface out there. So I can also quantify subgrades out there. So my asphalt subgrade that I put in there was just a 2-inch surface course, so I can add subgrades, but you add both of those up to get the quantities. This is total for the job, and then it breaks it down per station here, per road, based upon my specified station increments here. So I can save that out as a text file, send it to the printer. I'm just going to exit out of here, and we'll exit out of here. I always like to take a look at the surface after I build one, so if I go into my 3D viewer, go to surface file, select my roadways, I can now look at my tin model there, and you can see that it's tying back into existing ground here. It's got the crown of the road showing up real nicely, the curb, that flat zone behind the curb. Exit out of there. And let's see, let's toggle over to hydrology here for a bit. So let's go to my hydrology menu and freeze off a couple of these layers again here. And let's say we had to maybe put a detention pond in this lot here. So I'm going to erase out the pad and the setbacks here. And then I'll just zoom in a little bit here, and I'm just going to draw me a 3D or a 2D polyline. I'll put this one on layer called pond. Okay, and we'll just kind of start by screen picking some points in here. Close that off. And then I will go into the structure menu. You can see here's watershed, so this is for computing your stormwater runoff, again using either rational method or TR55 methodology. I'm just going to go right into structure, design, bench pond. My surface source, I'm going to slope back to my existing ground at a 3:1 ratio. Put this all on a layer called pond. I say OK. Pick the top of the pond. It's going to also draw a 12-foot wide berm across the top that I can drive along. So I'm going to select my tin file, and my outfill slope ratio down here is at 3:1. 3:1. I'm going to stick with 3:1 all the way across, and it's giving me a bottom. What it did is it sampled the elevations along that polyline, came up with an elevation of 264.86 at the lowest point on there. I can accept that, or I can override it. Type in 265, and the the bottom elevation, I'm going to make it 5 foot deep. I'll call it 260, and it draws that out for me. And then I'll get a nice stage storage curve here, or report here. Tells me my total cut and fill. Also tells me the volume of my pond. Again, save that out, send it to the printer, or exit. It's asking me if I want to change any designs of these pond parameter. I don't want to do that. But I can come in here. Actually, I can just double click on that polyline now, and it brings up the edit bench pond parameters. I notice I need to move this thing slightly because my grading has gone a little bit outside my lot. So I'm going to tell it to move pond and pick my first point of displacement and my second point of displacement, and then tell it to reprocess. And still just slightly over there. Maybe one more slight adjustment there. And all their grading now is within that lot here. So inside this menu here, you can also define the outfall structures. Maybe a weir coming out the side, off the back here, a multiple orifice outlet design. You might have a small diameter hole at the bottom of your outlet control structure with a larger one at the top, and ultimately a spillway at the top. All of that you can design inside this structure menu here. Now also inside of hydrology, I'm going to go into the network tab here. I'm going to freeze off some of my tin layers here. And disable my snaps for now. And I'm going to go start with the network, sewer network settings. I'm going to design a sanitary sewer. I need to give it a file name, and I'll just call it SS, short for sanitary sewer. My surface file, I want it to automatically find those elevations to set my rim elevation. So I'm going to select roadways 10, say OK, and then I simply just come in here and start picking structures here. So I'm going to pick location here, right there. I'm going to use a manhole 1, which is a, let's edit it. It's a 4-foot manhole. I can change the top width, the taper offset, and you can see it draws that up for you. Save that, say OK. And I'm going to go ahead and select my symbol down here. And let's see, I'm going to put this at a 6-foot depth. You can see it's read off the rim elevation right there for me from that surface model. Type in 6 foot for the depth, and then I'm going to just come in here and add a couple of structures. Click on the Add button, pick the point, place it here. We also want that to be manhole. And then what it does is it labels the pipe for me. Let's check the pipe. I don't want concrete. I want PVC and 8-inch PVC. Go back to the structure here. You see it updates there on the fly for me. My labeling inverts in and out, rim elevation, and come in here and add a couple more structures. Pick a point, set a point down here somewhere. Again, it automatically labels that for me. Let's go ahead and pick another point here. And then we'll draw it up in, well, that one looks like we're outside the right-of-way, so I need to make an adjustment here. So I'm going to exit out of here first and save it. Exit out of here, and then I can either go through the network, edit sewer structure and plan view here. Prompts me to pick the manhole and then change up the location here. And now I can see that that's no longer inside the right-of-way there. I just hit enter to accept. Let's also take a look at drawing this up. Let's draw this up in profile view. And I'm just going to accept the defaults. I have it draw the existing in the design surface for me. My existing is the EG10, and my design surface is my roadways 10. Say open, and I'm going to rename it manhole 4 to manhole 1. Save that, and I'll go ahead and plot that out. And I'm going to pick a point down here below. And it's labeled that up for me nicely, labeled the pipe length, material, labeled the manholes for me. You can see my existing and my proposed ground in there. Let me show you one more thing here. So if I edit this structure here at manhole 2, where it's got rim at 271/34, say network, edit sewer structure, plan view, and pick this up and move it over here. It has, and then when I hit enter, it's asking me I've got these dynamically linked, so I'm going to say yes to all, and it updates that manhole location for me also in the profile view. So that's a little bit on hydrology. Let's finish things up here with GIS. I click on the globe. That takes me to the GIS module. I've got another drawing I want to open up here. It's called Marriott. And first I want to go ahead and launch Google Earth. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to go back into my drawing, go to my settings folder, and under drawing setup, I need to set my projection and zone. I'm in State Plane 83, and this particular project is in California 6. Set that up, say OK, and then in Carlson GIS, I go to my images, and I'm going to tell it to place a Google Earth image. I'm going to select the frame of the image from my drawing by simply picking a rectangle here. And then inside Google Earth, it's going to ask me to save that out. So let's go over to Google Earth, and I'm going to go File, Save my image, and call it Demo. Demo 1, say Save, and then back into Carlson here, say OK. Go into my GIS menu, select that aerial image, and there it is in Google Earth. Also, rather than importing an image file in Google Earth, any one of our modules has the ability to export a Google Earth file as well. So I can drape it on the surface. So I'm going to just say OK here. Write out a KML, KMZ file. Again, I'll call it Demo. Click Save, and I'm going to just window my entities. Find my cursor here. Type in all, hit everything, hit Enter. And then it's going to launch Google Earth and take me right to that site. This all, by the way, I don't remember if I mentioned it from the beginning, but all of this I've done with IntelliCAD 8.1, which ships free with our software. That's a brief look at the Carlson Civil Suite. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to leave it up to open for any questions now at this point. Lee, have we got any questions right now?
Yep, we have one question. If you have any other questions, please type them into the question toolbar now. This one comes from Wyatt, and this was during hydrology. Can you make the length of the sewer run to have no decimals?
Yes, absolutely. You set your plan view label settings. So on the pipe labels, you set your precision. I'm not finding it right now. Let's see, labeled pipe length. Yes, you can. Unfortunately, I'm not finding the, let's go to the general settings here. Yeah, right here. So elevation, station, slope, and here's length. I can set that to 0. Say OK. And that's how you do that.
Okay, great. We have a couple other questions, but these are for, will I be able to view this presentation again? Yes, so we'll just wrap this up. I'll send out a link afterwards of the presentation that will be on our YouTube channel. And any other questions that comes up, please email them to info@carlsonsw.com. The next webinar, if you want to follow the Civil Suite series, is Civil Suite Road Design to Survey Stakeout, and that's with Tom Peak on March 21st. And then that's followed by Carlson Fundamentals, Point View, or Point Menu Tools and Tips, and that's with Aaron Newman on April 4th. And those are also at noon Eastern Time. So I want to thank Dave for filling in for Bruce for this webinar. Dave, do you have any last words to say?
Just everybody, to try to take advantage of that promotion we're having on the Civil Suite for LDD and Civil 3D users. Thank you all for joining us today. We sure appreciate you.
Awesome. So thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks.